Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you today about something a lot of women overlook, ignore, or explain away: his silence. Now, hear me clearly. If he's quiet, he's already made a decision about you. It might not be one he said out loud, but trust me, it's already done in his head. See, men are different. When a woman is quiet, it usually means she's hurt, she's waiting, or she's processing. But when a man is quiet, oh baby, he's already moved. Maybe not physically, but emotionally, mentally, he's already out the door. Ladies, I need you to stop looking for answers in what he says and start paying attention to what he doesn't say. A man's silence, baby, that thing is loud. It may not come with fireworks. It may not even come with a breakup. But when a man goes quiet on you, he's already made a decision in his heart. See, women talk it out. When something's wrong, y'all want to sit down, fix it, work through it, and that's beautiful, that's strength. But men, when they go quiet, that ain't always peace. That's distance. That's decisions being made in the dark, and you don't even know the meeting is happening. Now, I ain't saying every quiet man is a bad man, but there's a difference between a man being silent and a man being emotionally gone. That's the difference I need you to hear me on today. A man who's thinking, praying, figuring life out, he still holds space for you. He checks in, he says, baby, I just need a little time, but I'm here. But the one who suddenly stops texting good morning, who used to check in on your day, but now you hear cricket, that silence is loud. That silence is screaming something. And it's usually saying, I've changed my mind. I just don't have the courage to say it out loud. You know what makes it worse? Y'all start to doubt yourselves. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. He's probably stressed with work. He's just tired. Girl, no. Let me break it down real easy for you. People make time for what they want. Period. Silence is a choice. Consistency is a decision. And if he's choosing to be quiet, he's deciding not to communicate. And in a relationship, that silence, that's emotional starvation. That's how your self-esteem starts to shrink while you sit there waiting on a message that never comes. The game ain't fair, I know. You gave your time, your heart, your loyalty. You listened to him when he needed it. You were there when he was up and when he was down. And now, suddenly, he got nothing to say? Let me tell you something. A man in love, he can't shut up. He wants to talk to you, see you, be around you. Silence from a man who loves you is temporary and is filled with reassurance. But silence from a man who's emotionally done, oh, that's permanent. That's the sound of a door slowly closing while you still standing in the hallway. And I get it. Leaving is hard. Letting go is hard, especially when you still love him, especially when you still hope. But don't let that hope blind you to the truth. You can't wait forever for a conversation that ain't coming. You can't keep texting paragraphs and getting one-word answers. You can't keep begging for time when all he's given is space. At some point, his silence becomes your answer. And once you realize that, it's not about being angry. It's about being clear. It's about seeing that your worth is not measured by someone else's confusion. It's about learning to walk away, not because you stopped loving him, but because he stopped talking to you. And silence isn't love. Ladies, I need you to hear me. When a man is silent, he's either thinking of how to come closer or figuring out how to leave without confrontation. And you deserve someone who speaks life into you, not someone who disappears when it gets real. Silence may not be a slap in the face, but it's a slow fade. And the longer you wait to acknowledge it, the more it eats away at your joy. So no, don't wait for a man to speak who's already decided he has nothing left to say. That silence is saying everything. It's telling you where his heart is. It's telling you where you stand. And it's screaming the truth you've been trying not to hear. Ladies, let me tell you something most men will never say out loud. When a man pulls back, when he gets distant, when he stops engaging like he used to, that usually means he already reached a conclusion in his head. And the thing is, he didn't call a meeting, didn't send a memo, didn't give you a heads up. He made the decision by himself, kept it quiet, and now you just left dealing with the fallout. That's the truth. See, men don't always talk when something changes. We act. When our heart shifts, our behavior follows. But we don't always tell you because confrontation ain't our favorite sport. We're not wired to sit down and say, look, I've changed how I feel about this. Instead, we slowly check out emotionally, mentally, and then eventually physically. That's what confuses so many women because you're thinking, but everything was fine. Nah, baby, it looked fine. But in his head, he had a conversation with himself a long time ago. And that conversation went like this. I don't feel the same anymore, but I don't want to hurt her. So instead of telling you straight up, he stops doing little things that push you away. He stops calling like he used to. He gets busy all of a sudden. His replies turn short. He's in the same room, but not really present. That man already made a decision. He just didn't have the guts to say it out loud. And what happens next? You start overcompensating. You start blaming yourself. Maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I need to love him harder. Maybe he's just going through something and I need to be patient. Listen to me. Stop it. Stop blaming yourself for a man's silence because what you're doing is pouring yourself into a situation that's already been emptied. You're trying to revive something that in his mind is already dead. And here's the kicker. He's still showing up enough to keep you hooked. He hasn't completely walked away. He's just withdrawn enough to make you feel unsure. Make you feel like you need to prove yourself, make you fight harder for someone who already let go. A man doesn't always slam the door. Sometimes he just stops unlocking it. He's emotionally distant, but physically present. And that's worse because you can see him, but you can't feel him anymore. You're looking at the same face, hearing the same voice, but it's like the soul behind it ain't talking to you no more. That's what emotional withdrawal looks like. And 9 times out of 10, it's because he already decided something. He already decided what he wants, where he stands, and if that includes you or not. He might not have told you, but you're living in the result of that decision. Ladies, I need you to stop waiting for closure from a man who already closed the door in his mind. Stop begging for effort from someone who decided to take his heart off the table. You deserve clarity. You deserve connection. You deserve presence, not just attendance. If he's sitting next to you, but his heart ain't in it, that's not a relationship. That's a performance. And you shouldn't have to guess whether the love is still there. When a man loves you, he doesn't retreat. He doesn't disappear in the middle of your emotional storm. He doesn't shrink back when it's time to grow forward. He leans in, he reassures, he engages. But when he withdraws, emotionally checks out, and stays quiet, while you're trying to hold everything together, he's made up his mind already. You don't need to argue with that silence. You don't need to beg him to come back emotionally. You need to recognize that his emotional absence is not your fault. And it's not your burden to fix. Because if he already concluded the relationship in his mind, then you're the only one still fighting. And no woman deserves to be the only one fighting to stay connected while a man has already disconnected. Ladies, let me tell you something straight. You can't fix what a man refuses to talk about. You can't mend a relationship that only you are willing to repair. And you sure can't save something if the other person won't even admit it's broken. I've seen too many good women stress themselves out trying to pull the truth out of a man who's decided to shut down. You ask what's wrong, he says nothing. You try to create space for him to open up, he gives you silence. You write long messages, pour out your heart, try to get through, and all you get back is cold distance. That's not communication. That's emotional stonewalling. And the sad part is, some of y'all are blaming yourselves for it. Let me tell you this, it's not your job to dig into a man's chest and pull his words out. It's not your job to guess how he feels. Communication is not a female thing. It's a human thing. And if he refuses to participate, baby, then you're not in a partnership. You're in a guessing game. And that ain't love. That's mental gymnastics. That's waking up every day unsure of where you stand, confused about what you did wrong, and exhausted from trying to connect with someone who built a wall and gave you no key to climb over it. Now, I get it. Some men weren't taught how to express themselves. They were taught to man up, stay strong, don't show emotion. But let me be clear. Just because he wasn't taught doesn't mean you have to suffer. You are not his emotional rehab center. You can encourage him, support him, but you can't fix what he won't admit is broken. If he's hurt and chooses silence instead of vulnerability, then that's his wall to tear down, not yours. You can't walk into the future with someone who won't even tell you where they're standing today. And ladies, stop thinking that loving harder will force him to open up. Love doesn't work like that. You can't pour your soul into someone and expect that alone to unlock their voice. Communication requires willingness. If he's unwilling, no amount of effort on your part will change that. You'll burn yourself out trying to keep a connection that only exists in your mind while he's mentally somewhere else, detached, disconnected, and comfortable with letting you carry the weight of both hearts. You deserve a man who talks, who speaks up when something's wrong, who isn't afraid to say, I'm struggling, or I need help, or we need to talk. You deserve someone who doesn't make you beg for clarity. Because the truth is, if he cared about your peace, he'd care enough to speak. A man who wants to keep you won't risk losing you through silence. He'll find the words. They might not be perfect. They might not be deep, but he'll find a way to meet you halfway. Why? Because love communicates. Love doesn't hide. It doesn't go mute when things get uncomfortable. I've watched too many queens turn into emotional detectives, trying to analyze every silence, read between every line, decode every facial expression. You are not crazy for wanting answers. You are not wrong for expecting conversation, and you are not too emotional because his silence makes you anxious. You're human. You're a woman with a heart that deserves to be heard, not just seen. A woman with questions that deserve answers, not excuses. A woman with love to give, not puzzles to solve. So the next time you find yourself trying to fix a relationship all on your own, ask yourself this: is he even meeting me in the middle? Or am I having a one-sided conversation with someone who's already shut the door emotionally? Because you can't fix silence. You can't repair something he won't acknowledge. And you shouldn't have to live your life wondering what he feels when he refuses to simply say it. But let me break it down to you today, real smooth and real honest. When a man goes silent, he may not always be plotting, cheating, or lying. Sometimes he's already checked out, not with a suitcase and a goodbye note, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, he's not there no more. He's going through the motions, but the connection is gone. And the worst part, most women don't even see it coming because they're too busy believing that silence means peace. But baby, not always. Sometimes silence means detachment. And detachment is the silent death of a relationship. Ladies, when a man is invested, he engages, he reacts, he responds, he contributes. He argues because he still cares. He speaks up because he wants to fix it. But when that man gets real quiet, when the arguments stop, when you start hearing, do whatever you want more than let's talk about it, that's not maturity. That's resignation. He's no longer trying to fix anything. He's already accepted in his head that it's not working, but he's too tired or too comfortable to say it out loud. So he checks out quietly, hoping the situation will end itself without him having to be the bad guy. You know the kind of silence I'm talking about. The kind that fills the room even when y'all are sitting next to each other. The kind where he scrolls through his phone instead of looking you in the eyes. The kind where your laughter doesn't pull his smile like it used to. You start to feel invisible, like you talking to a shell of the man who once chased you, complimented you, adored you. Now he's distant, distracted, disinterested. IPE, and when you ask him what's wrong, he shrugs, says nothing. That's not nothing, that's everything. Let me tell you something important. When a man loves you and wants you, he's present, fully. He makes you feel seen, heard, and wanted. He fights for you, not with you. But when he starts checking out mentally, you feel like you're living with a stranger. And what makes it harder is that he's still physically there. That confuses you. You start thinking maybe it's your fault. Maybe if you just say the right words, do the right things, you can pull him back in. But you can't reach someone who's no longer standing in the same emotional room as you. And the more you try, the more distant he becomes, because now your effort makes him uncomfortable. Why? Because he already mentally moved on, and now you're trying to drag him back into a place he no longer wants to be. Ladies, listen to me. Don't chase after a man who's mentally left. Don't lose your peace trying to make him find his. You are not responsible for his silence. And I know it hurts. Trust me, I know. You think of all the memories, the late night talks, the way he used to hold you, the way he made you feel like you were the only woman in the world. And now you feel like a burden, like your presence annoys him. That ain't love. That's a man who already let go, but didn't have the decency to say it. You got to recognize the signs. If he's not talking, not trying, not showing up emotionally, it's because he's not there anymore. And no amount of pleading or crying will bring him back if he already made the choice to detach. It's okay to ask once, maybe twice, but after that, observe. His actions will always tell the truth his mouth refuses to say. Silence is not always peaceful. Sometimes silence is a mask men wear when they don't want to confront the truth. But you You deserve more than silence. You deserve honesty. You deserve effort. You deserve presence, because the kind of man